top end, as Phoenix hasn't been banned itself. Either team could go for it, and it should be a pretty interesting one between both sides.
Should be. Motivate Trust have been looking pretty decent overall throughout the past couple months, if you ask me. And obviously, Among Us, they just formed. You already mentioned this, and they're not going to last very long as a team. But see what kind of influence they can have throughout the BTS Pro Series. Of course, their first series yesterday did end up in a 2-0 for them, up against 0-3-2. So they've had a very, very good start. Couldn't really ask for a better start if you are a team in the Pro Series, and I'm sure they are looking for another 2-0 victory if they can afford to get one here up against Motivate Trust, who have again been looking pretty decent. They've had 1 win and 1 draw throughout their 2 games so far for Motivate. So, of course, they'd also love to get a 2-0 victory if they could.
Oh yeah. Just helps you climb up. You want to give yourself a bit of a boost as well. Interesting that Among Us bans out the Savage Morphling themselves, and they actually do pick up a Lifestealer. So we're seeing the Lifestealer in play in response to Tiny Void. Again, it's about the rage. It's about being able to stand and fight. You don't have to worry about magic damage this game. You've got a natural vehicle in the Bat Rider. So you've got a lot of things playing up here, Mike. A double lasso, Infest Bomb. It's looking pretty good.
I do agree. That does explain the Morphling ban, of course. Lifestealer does not enjoy playing up against the Morph. It is a very, very ugly time for that Lifestealer, but that's not too much of an issue now. But there is an issue for Motivate Trust. They've got to figure out a way to deal with this Lifestealer. Obviously, they did pick up the Void Spirit Tiny, which can't do much up against the rage of that LS. So, what else do you have here to pick up?
See you later, nerds.
It's a bit unfortunate for Motivate Trust, considering they actually banned out the PA and AM themselves, so they won't have those options either. But they are going to go for a Tidehunter.
Yeah, instant pickup of the center as well for Among Us. So just building off the run at you kind of draft for Among Us, and they can just pop the war run, get in, Stampede, and just get the Infest Bomb off, double lasso off, everything can fly out. Really solid draft for them. Motivate Trust, Tidehunter here, just to give themselves some good team fight. Give themselves a hero that can purge off the lasso, purge off the control, right, with the Kraken. We've seen that happen in a series before, where the Bat Rider gets forced to just jump a tide. The lasso doesn't do much, so that's something Among Us has to be careful about. Of course, with a Centaur here, there's some flexibility with where the Bat Rider actually ends up, whether or not that's our Jabs 4 hero, or if that's still going to be mid or off with all of your cores picked up. Depends on how Among Us wants to do this. If it goes to Cuckoo or some such, it's really open. Motivate Trust, they do go with a PL, so that's an excellent response to the Lifestealer. And all of these heroes, you don't have the best AoE control here for Among Us. Phantom Lancer is going to have a pretty sweet time just running around with solutions here.
I wonder if they want to switch out and put the Bat Rider in the offlane now for Among Us rather than having that Centaur. The Bat Rider might have a pretty decent time up against that PL, assuming you can get those sticky napalm stacks without the doppelganger being leveled up. I guess we'll see. I mean, it does seem like Among Us are lacking a position 4 at the moment, unless they are intending on running the Bat Rider 4, which you don't see very often anymore, but could still be a potential thing here. Apart from that, though, if they didn't write the Bat Rider 4, then that would be Arbed mid Bat Rider, which I don't really feel like that's an Arbed hero that he'd want to play. So
no, definitely not. It's you'd want him to shine in something else. I think we've got the leeway here for one of the Spirit Brothers to make their appearance. So Storm might come out, maybe the Ember. I don't know about the Earth Spirit in this case, but you do have the Grimstroke. So you could possibly get that done if you wanted to try that. None of them play well against the PL. That's just going to be your biggest worry. Just the PL catch is really not there, no matter what mid, with those choices for mid. So we'll find out how Among Us plugs that hole in their draft. They do have last pick overall. So they might pull a surprise out. Motivate Trust is going to have to show their full roster first. That might leave them a bit exposed, especially if they're trying to flex the Void Spirit. We're going to find out with their last pick.
What is it going to be? I mean, surely it's just a position 5 pickup here. I mean, do you really want to run a support Void Spirit? It just seems so... Yeah, there you go. The Bane comes out now. Fair enough. A nice way to just stop the lifestealer from being able to do anything. Just get the grip off, and he is kind of just stuck and pretty vulnerable. Among Us, they don't really have a great way of cancelling that Bane's grip either. Like, you've got Lasso, you've got Centaur, Hoof Stomp, and you've got the Silence from Grimstroke, but it's not like a real guaranteed way of stopping that from happening. Not like an Abaddon or an LC that can purge the Fiend's grip off. Speaking of, both those heroes are banned right now, so you can't choose those either if you are Among Us.
Yeah, it's a tricky spot. Again, and with their early picks in the Bat Centaur, that's kind of biting them here, because you know your mid lane matchup against Void Spirit. You could still put the Bat there, but in the support position as well, you don't have anything to deal with PL. That's the biggest concern for Among Us, and they're just gonna have to decide now. Are you gonna run the Abed Batrider, the Cuckoo Centaur, or are you gonna run, this Batrider for jabs with something else coming out for Abed in the last pick?
Maybe they could go for the Abed Kunkka here, because it offers you a way of cancelling off the Bane Fiend's grip. It does control the Void Spirit. Obviously, the Tidebringer boat is very nice against the PL. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe just pick up the Kunkka.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna go for the Storm.
No. Yeah, it's one of those Spirit Brothers sliding through again. Abed special, just gonna dance around. Natural vehicle for the Lifestealer as well. You still have to worry about that control onto Jackie, right? Jumping onto that PL down the line, it's gonna be risky. And once the Diffusal is up, you do not want to get hit as the Storm. You don't want to lose any point of mana. You're gonna have to be careful. There's some good control here for both the Lifestealer and the Storm, right? Bane can make it hellish for either hero, really maximize their potential. And that's going to be the biggest weakness from Among Us. They're going to have to be cautious about that. Maybe a Lincoln's down the line for Abed is going to be coming out just to ensure he stands there and fights no problem. They're going to have to really be cautious. There's some bigger team fight potential here for Motivate Trust early. Ravage. It's a really easy spell to land. Really wide AoE, of course. Not going to be prioritizing that Blink, I don't think, in this game. No need for it. But it's going to be an interesting back and forth. Very different draft. Very different playstyle. Should be a fun second series kicker here.
Should be. Get into it very, very soon. We'll see how this all does pan out. Of course, Among Us, I'm sure, are looking to be the favorites in this matchup, but we'll get the loot bet odds up pretty soon to see what they think. They have been looking very, very strong recently, though, these guys.
Yeah, just dominant in their debut. And Motivate Trust, they're not one to sneeze at as well. We saw Masaras. He's been playing a lot of Tide, with that distinctive set, which you can see Tide's head under. But he's been doing work. Seems to be having fun as he asks for it again. And look at all those DCs.
Yeah,
Savage DC'd with him.
What is happening with the internet over there? It's just, this is the second
Thai
time
internet?
today.
Yeah, this time it's Thai internet for whatever reason. Ovid says go.
See you later, nerds.
Of
See you later,
course.
nerds.
Goodness me. Can't go yet, Arbit. Let's take it easy. Wait it out.
No patience. No patience, man. Just wants to play. Doesn't
I
want to
brought
play
up
this
those,
waiting game.
I have brought up those odds, by the way. They are heavily favored right now Among Us. $1.25 to $3.70 for Motivate Trust.
Yeah, I mean, that performance. This is the C Dream team. They play well. They've been fun to watch, and I can't tell if we're getting more people reconnected or if we're losing more to disconnects right now. Feels like we've lost more.
We have. I'll slowly reconnect up. Surprising, it's generally I expect the Filipino teams to have this problem, John. It's
I guess Ovid's got a better connection. I don't know. Mid privilege, maybe?
Maybe. So-
It's gonna be one to watch out for. Jabs, on the pause 4 roll on that Bat Rider. Just gonna be fun to watch what he does in that off lane together with Cuckoo. It's a pretty potent lane, I gotta tell you, Mike. Bat Rider Centaur. Right, you get in with a stun. Level 3 is where it really shines. Once you've got more levels up in the Napalm and a level in the Firefly, you can really get some work done. Cuckoo's super tanky, gonna be hard to zone out. You kind of have your work cut out for you, and a remake's being requested.
I'm guessing they can't reconnect to the game, perhaps. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't reconnect. Oh, some things just never get changed, do they? How
Play the game,
does...
Mike. All right, here we go.
All right, we'll be right back. We'll come back once we're
5-5-5.
into the game. We'll see
Jab
you all
is
again very
laughing.
soon. Oh, I imagine he is. Won't be too long. We'll reconnect and we'll remake and be right back. right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for our first game of this best of two between Among Us and Motivate Trust. Apologies about that. Some bugs just never disappear. I don't know what to say. It's
Oh man.
can't fix bugs, John.
No, they're having fun in chat. Their moods are lifted, Mike. It doesn't affect them. They're happy.
I'm glad they're happy.
MY versus MY. Apparently the best carry gang. Well, whatever any of this means. The in-jokes flying out. Just gotta smile and nod and wave as Outing Rude's gonna be coming up. Looks like they're gonna make an aggressive move into Jackie. Gotta watch out there.
They do. Jackie will be right. He's just gonna back off. Let's get zoned out of those bounty runes, and they're just gonna be a bit wary of not giving 3 bounty runes away at this start, I suppose. If you are Motivate Trust, because it does look like Jabs wants to contest that bot bounty. But they do group up down a bot lane. Jabs is not going to bother trying. He'll return back to his lane, and we are going to have some lane switching going on. Savage wants to run up top.
Just avoiding the matchups on hand. Of course, that does leave you with the Lifestealer up against the Tide, but I think that's exactly what you want, right? The Lifestealer can just eat through the Tide, and you wouldn't want the Centaur to just do the damage onto Jackie, sustain that lane, and once you've got that, it will help up. Of course, this is a bit of a boon for Jabs, having the first wave for himself as a Bat Rider. It's not too bad of a trade, so despite playing musical lanes, it's pretty alright here for Among Us.
Yeah, I'd say so. Masteros has to be a little bit cautious, though. He's taking a lot of harassment out from Savage and Whiteman, but be okay. He's got a salve available on that Tide, and just needs to get to the point where he can get a few levels up on that Kraken shell. And should be fine to sustain himself in this lane, as we do have another pause. And well, the MG Trust boys were saying that they were still experiencing a couple lag issues, so we might have a few pauses throughout this game, but hopefully they don't last too long.
Oh yeah. It's a little slightly concerning, but hopefully it doesn't maintain itself. Does give us a chance to talk about that mid lane a bit, Mike. Fearless up against Abed. The Storm versus the Void Spirit. You're seeing Fearless pulled slightly ahead, but the Storm isn't going to be lagging too behind. It's going to be a bit of a back and forth lane. Level 6 is where both of these heroes really start to pop off, but Fearless does have a more varied kit. If he does go for a utility skill point in each spell at level 4 at least, then he's going to have ways to at least juke around Abed. And Abed's got to be a bit cautious. It's really going to be down to support rotations onto the mid, and you already see Q making his way there.
Yeah, Q looking for a toss back on Abed. Won't be able to get it, and Abed will give him a bit of a love tap on the way out. Still going to try for it though, just coming back in, and they realize they've got to make sure Abed does not have a good game. Ooh, a bit unfortunate there. The Aether Remnant though, not going to latch on from Fearless, and well, had it latched on, that may have actually been first blood, but they do miss out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Abed's going to be happy with that. That is some EXP soaked away from Fearless. The lane equilibrium gets thrown off a bit, but they're still dancing here. Fearless just focusing on those creeps, and again, the support's going to have to be on point. Q is going to be looking to make that play over and over. Does move his focus up top, though, as Masteros, you mentioned him dropping low earlier. He's not too far behind the last hits, but he's not slowing Savage any way down.
Well, I mean, it's a hard lane, right? Like, again, up until you have that, like, level 2 Kraken shell, I think Masteros is probably going to struggle just a little bit. Savage is going to have a nice, somewhat free time, apart from the anchor smashing that is happening. Q, go for a nice little toss back onto Jabs into that double-stacked large camp. But he won't take too much damage. Jabs is going to actually make a bit of a rotation back towards his own triangle. Maybe just reset and go back into the lane. Still bot lane. Jackie and Boombell going to be up against Cuckoo on that Centaur and Whitemon on the Grimstroke. We're going to put the Nightmare off onto Whiteman, making sure he can't chase him down for the Ink Swap. Overall, though, you look at the CS board, and Cuckoo seems to be having a very, very good time.
He definitely is. He's taking over that lane just a bit more. Kind of the same story for both offlaners. They're just applying that pressure slightly ahead of this opposing pause 1 cores, and it's not too bad of a position for those safe lane carries, but you wouldn't want to lag too far behind. Maintaining it this way is not too bad. You're not slowing down the offlaner as well, but your own farm is on a steady pace, so you'll take what you can get here.
Fearless on that CS really pulling ahead now, 22-5 in comparison to the 15-1 of Arbed. To be somewhat expected, however, considering it is a Void Spirit, but now that Arbed is at that level 4 mark, he should get aggressive, and does. Fearless will be able to get the Dissimilate off and continue to be CSing in this mid lane, but down at the pot lane, they were trying to fight over the Power Rune. Only problem being, Jabs had the Power Rune up at the top lane, and that was the Arcane. Overall, both heroes will get denied off that bottle. So I think that might actually hurt Arbed a bit more, though, as Fearless does seem to be having a much more comfortable time.
Oh yeah, and it's helpful for Jabs, but it's not like he's going to make any too aggressive plays with the Napalm. Gotta love the plays that Q's making. He's keeping track of Jabs every single time, getting Jabs damaged in those camps, breaking off the pull, makes it a bit trickier to find those stacks that you want to build up as a Bat Rider, and that's going to have some impact later down the line if they do maintain that. But Q, he's not finding kills, but he's being very annoying on the Tiny.
He is, and he might actually find a kill now. Avalanche Toss is going to be out onto Cuckoo. Do slow him down with the Stroke of Fate, and now the Hoof Stomp, but Fearless is going to join in with the Aether Remnant, takes the first blood, and takes the bounty away from Among Us. That's a great start for your Void Spirit. Not only is he top of the last hits board, but he gets the first blood goal.
Yeah, that's really important for Fearless. Sets him off to a way better start. He is significantly ahead of Abed at this point in time as well. About 600 gold up. That's going to set the pace for a Void Spirit. Gives him an earlier level 6 as well. And that's the point where he can start to look at even more pick-off opportunities onto that Storm. So a bit of caution advised here for Among Us. Got to play a bit safe. They need to ride it out until you can clear these stacks. Once you can, you've got a lot of stacks to play with because Jabs has been very effective in going around that map.
Where are these stacks?
Should be in the triangle. It's a bunch.
Fearless.
At least one.
Aether Remnant going to be out onto Arbed. Doesn't go for the Dissimilate damage, just wants to back off. Was only a level 1 Dissimilate after all, so it wasn't going to be enough. He does just pressure Arbed out. Arbed going to go up towards that top rune spot, but nothing's going to be there. He is indeed going to go to that triangle and start taking some stacks for himself.
Yeah, it's actually not as much as you'd expect. Again, that's down to Q being pretty annoying. In fact, speaking of Q, he's got an Invis and looking for an opportunity, but a lot of caution. Like, you're not seeing Among Us overextend in any way. They're just playing it safe in that safe lane and getting the creeps back. You look up top, Masaros is at 6, Savage is at 6. So those solo lanes are starting to find the EXP, find the gold. You've got to be cautious of that timing. The first Ravage is going to be very important to set that pace for MG Trust.
I wonder if he does even skill up the Ravage here. He might just choose to hold out. And yeah, he does. He goes for the Kraken Shell. So understanding he's probably going to be a bit more passive for now. We'll just wait out that Ravage timing. Savage, however, going to get a bit aggressive here, trying to take some creeps off Masaros, but Masaros does still manage to just take most of them. I think Savage only got one with that Infest Bomb. And even now, with that level 7, he still doesn't bother with the Ravage timing. He does go for the level 4 Anchor Smash.
I mean, he's got his early Morbid Mask up as well, so he can stand there and trade with Savage. Not the ideal situation for a Lifestealer. You know, they're just going to be trading farm, but the Tidehunter does clear out camps, clears out creep waves a bit faster, and in that sense, Masaros is enjoying this 1v1. Off to a pretty good start. Number 2 in last hits, although.
Mid lane, caught by that Remnant, but will survive through the initial burst, and now wants to turn back around onto Q. Q will drop to the Storm, and now Fearless, being chased down by Jabs. does also go down, and those are two really big pickoffs for Among Us.
Oh yeah, it's a massive set of kills. Abed gonna be very pleased finding that. He even has the regen rune on himself, so that kind of takes a bit of that early start away for Fearless. It has to be a bit cautious. You want those rotations to be successful. You die like that, the punishment from Among Us, you can't underestimate. It starts to, even out. You still are in a pretty good spot as the Void Spirit, but, you start to wonder when the side lanes will start to open up. None of these heroes in Among Us are particularly easy to pick off, and that means the only real one you can make plays on is really Abed. It's just, he's at level 8 now. That just got a bit more difficult.
Looks like he wants to go for another kill, Abed. On to Jackie. Jackie gonna go for the doppel, but without that now, Jackie is just a sitting duck. Cuckoo will commit the stampede, and it will be a very simple rotation out for Abed. This is really not what you want to give Abed, right? You don't want him to take kills like this across the map, because he is going to snowball out of control.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to Storm. He's working towards that Orchid. He just lacks Quarterstaff in the recipe. That's actually pretty fast progress for a Storm. Number 2 in net worth now with all those kills under his belt. Tied up with Savage on a free farm lane. This is just fantastic for Abed. Sets up the pace, and once that Orchid is up, you can expect his aggressive plays to be even more effective. The additional control you can get onto Fearless is going to hurt that Void Spirit. The Yules is not going to line up with that Orchid timing. He's going to have a big window where there's just no Purge available.
That's going to be very problematic. Abed just looking for more creeps to hit right now, but MG Trust. What's that, a double stack there up that triangle? Savage does come back for his bounty rune and realizes it is gone. And now, well, Fearless even getting a double damage rune on that Void Spirit. Might be able to make use of this very, very soon. He does get very lucky with those runes, and well, for now he's not going to be able to catch anyone out. There is no one around. But he's having a look, he's having a gander, see if he can catch anyone here. And maybe just use both his astral steps to steal some creeps off Savage with that double stack.
Yeah, it's worthwhile enough, slowing down the farm of the Lifestealer. Evens out the net worth graph as well. Very flat across all of these cores. Only one lagging behind is Cuckoo still. MG Trust, they smoke up. Level 9. Want to use that double damage, as you mentioned.
Where are they going to use it? Bot lane? I mean, it's just Whiteman there. They could try to set up for that bottom tier 1 tower. Now the pings come out, they want to go for the kill. This should be a very easy one. Q gets the avalanche into the toss, and should be a nice easy cleanup here for Fearless, or is it? Whiteman had the ink swell going. Does make Fearless expend a lot more than he'd like to try and get that kill. I suppose at the very least they should be able to now go towards that bot tier 1.
Yeah, it's going to be a relatively straightforward push. None of these heroes melt towers fast. It will take some investments to get that done, but they've got the numbers. Doesn't look like Among Us is sending any heroes down to even just soak. So should be some good chip damage done, but it's only Fearless standing in this lane, so it's probably not a full-blown push. Just, again, chipping away. Down mid is where you see some focus from Among Us. They do have Cuckoo along with Whiteman to chip away at that mid tier 1. So just applying pressure there, forcing a response out.
Tier 1, you don't want to lose that if you motivate. Now going to bring Masaros in to try and defend, but that's going to open up the top lane for Savage to start forcing in. And speaking of Savage, he has the armlet up now. So he's been really free farming quite nicely. All props to Jackie, however, who has kept up with him, and they are on the exact same gold right now. It's going to change now as they do get a couple creeps going for themselves, but seems though Motivate Trust, they want to try and force a team fight. Boombell does have the Fiend's Grip up. Just needs to catch himself a target. Does also have Q around, but you need more than that. You can't just go with a Bane Tiny. Looks like they are going to back off.
Yeah, missed opportunity. They wanted to jump Savage. They need some help for that. And they do find something bot though, Abed.
Yeah, he gets Fearless. Another huge pick-off for Arbed, and they knew that they were up at that top lane trying to get a smoke rotation happening. So Arbed just takes a very easy kill down at the bot lane, and to make matters worse, that was the position 2 of Motivate Trust.
Yeah, that's a great Orchid reveal from Abed, and there's that timing. You know, the ult is just not ready yet for Fearless. He's going to be vulnerable to that silence. And in this way, Abed is just set to snowball even harder, working towards his booster next into, into the Bloodstone. So it's a smooth ramp up. They haven't punished the Storm. The jungle hasn't been monitored. This is a bit of a concern for MG Trust. They do catch jabs, though.
Yeah, they got the Fiend's Grip off onto the Batrider. Not really the usage they were hoping for the first Fiend's Grip, but sometimes you just have to take what you can get. They'll accept the Jabs Batrider kill into that tier 1 bot tower. I'll leave Jackie and Masros to take care of that as the rest of MG Trust go for a smoke towards that mid lane, as they are losing that mid tower. Masros gonna TP in, Arbed just zipping away from Fearless. They do successfully hold that tier 1. It is on very low HP, but it's still there. MG Trust might want to try and go for a counter push.
Yeah, they've got the heroes clumped up. They still have the Ravage. They've left Savage to free farm top, though. He's even shoving that tier 2 up. Have to be cautious about that. He's done some good damage by himself onto the tier 2, and he's keeping the wave shoved in.
MG Trust, they're going to keep up the push. They're not going to be too bothered by this push happening up at top by Savage. Thing is, Cuckoo's pulling the creep way away. That's a bit annoying now for MG Trust. They have to go after that tier 1 tower without the creeps. There is going to be TPs coming in, and we Savage showing up now. You don't have the Fiend's Grip to hold him down. So Savage going to pop the Rage onto Jackie. Masros does have Ravage, but needs to commit very, very soon, and he has not yet. He'll hold out. Back to that tier 1 mid tower, but now the Stampede in from Cuckoo. Nightmare will be there on your Centaur, but Jab's got the lasso off. Big Ravage, however, from Masros, and Arbed gonna zip back in. Does take down Boombill, but Q also going down on the Tiny. And Masros is still left behind on the Tidehunter, but they want to go after Fearless. Arbed, does he have the damage up? He's kind of low on mana. That'll be it. A 2-for-2 trade. Both supports on both ends going down. And Motivate Trust do successfully take that tier 1 mid tower.
That's the objective they were really looking for. They're going to be happy just trading evenly for that. They still maintain a bit of a lead there with Jackie, but the overall net worth is leaning towards Among Us. Still, they've got the map control advantage with their own mid tier 1 looking a bit better. You know, it's still up at the least. And that's something Among Us will have to be cautious about. There's an additional TP point now that MG Trust is going to be able to access. It does leave their jungle slightly compromised here for Among Us. They're going to have to wait a little bit more. Jabs did have that early blink reveal. Didn't pan out the way they wanted it, though.
Masros been stunned up mid lane. Fearless going to try and jump in and help out. Masros, he's a tanky target, so it's quite difficult to get through the raw HP pool of this Tide, and now Q. A great toss out on Jabs, and that's going to mean your Batrider's gone. And MG Trust, they are fighting back very, very efficiently now, and they are really making sure that mid-tier 1 does not drop.
Yeah, they're keeping really good checks on that tower, just maintaining that control, maintaining easy access in their jungle. This is going to hurt Among Us. It's not going to allow them to roam around as much as they'd want. We've seen them really try to find us aggressive plays. It's just going to stay that way. They're looking for Cuckoo's blink right now. So just sit back, wait for the blink on the Centaur. It gives you more opportunities to jump in beyond just a lasso. They are smoked up though. Jabs does have the lasso ready. They do infest up, looking for a play.
Not near anyone quite yet. Fearless, actually going to be the closest target to them, but they ping out Boombill. And they'll commit the lasso, go for the easy Bane kill, and now the chase will be on. See if they can get anyone else. But Masros, again, is going to be way too difficult of a target to get through. And instead, well, they're going to zip in onto Fearless. Silence will be there from Arbed, into the Vortex and the Hoof Stomp. And Fearless, he did not have that Yule Scepter available. So couldn't quite purge off the Silence in time, and Well, suddenly it's a 2-for-nothing trade.
Yeah, it's a really big trade going the way of Among Us. That is also Cuckoo's Blink finished up from that kill. So there's that additional initiation we were looking for Among Us. That's going to enable them to, again, maintain that aggression that they have been showing. And as soon as they start chipping away at this mid-tier 1, the map opens up. That's where they're going to set their eyes next once a few more items come out. And that's where, again, MG Trust, very disciplined to keep that tier 1 alive. You're going to have to keep at it to counteract any sort of movements from Among Us.
Bit downtime here in this game number 1, 8-6. Both teams just kind of sitting back and they get some more core items up here. Like Arbed. He got that Bloodstone up already? Is that what he just bought out?
I think it's a soul booster. He lacks the Kaya, but he's gonna have the additional HP and mana pool, so that's gonna be a huge boon for him. You look at Q as well. Even our pause 4 Tiny has a blink available. It's really fast blinks across the map for both sides. Very disciplined in that farm. And again, it's still a close match, 8-6, 1k lead on Among Us, but it's not much. Really excellent plays from all sides. You know, it's slower, but they're finding that steady farm. You look at Jackie's progress, Diffusal, and 20-minute mark. That's with Power Treads and with a Rate Band. Really, just fantastic farm. No punishment from both sides. There is another smoke here from Among Us, though.
They're going to loop through the triangle. Not paying any attention towards those PL illusions that were farming the Ancients. Arbed now going to try and bait for his team a little bit. And Savage, well, he won't wait. He'll go straight after that tier 1 mid tower. And now Masaros is going to TP in. But he has absolutely zero fear of dying here in this Tidehunter. And they're not even going to bother trying to jump in. They just know it's too difficult at the moment to get through that HP. Funny thing is, he is alone in that mid lane. So they could take their time with him, but they're just not going to bother.
Yeah, he is just way too big. Like, he's got the Vlads up, Hood of Defiance is there, waiting for the upgrade into the pipe. And it's just a tricky one. They're just going to go for the safe play, chip away at objectives. That's forcing the TP back here, though. There might be a fight.
Pops the essence ring there. The other's going to get the use off on Cuckoo, so he'll start on the Centaur. Cuckoo does commit the Stampede, but Ravage is going to fly out, and it's a very nice Ravage, allowing them to jump in. Q with the Avalanche toss, but Jabs, he got the lasso off on Fearless. They could burst down this Void Spirit perhaps, or maybe not Arbed. He's running low on mana. Motivate Trust are still fighting back, but Savage standing his ground up against Jackie, who is very, very low, and looks like he might die. Among Us, it looked kind of poor for them after that Ravage, but they just sustained themselves, and well, you lost Jabs to the Bat Rider, but you might find even more for your trouble, as you will get Fearless, and even Masaros is set to go down here up this bot lane, and it'll be a full team one.
Ooh, man. Among Us, just playing perfectly. Really, the spacing was beautiful there. Like, you saw the Ravage coming from a mile away. It only caught 3. They were all really split up. The only hero they could actually jump is Cuckoo, but he already got the Stampede off. So it's not like it mattered to him. And Among Us, so all of a sudden, off that team fight, 3k lead. I believe that's the Bloodstone now being finished for Abed. 22 minutes. Orchid Bloodstone. That is just insanely fast farm for Abed, and he's not even number 1 in net worth. The 2 cores are still up there. So now, our Storm, 6-0, hasn't been punished with the fresh Bloodstone up, going for the Ags next. I love this coming out from Abed. He's just going for that control to ensure that they've got a way to keep that PL locked in, keep all the heroes of MG Trust pressured to split apart, where they can pick them off one by one.
Absolutely, and you've also got the Mjolnir now on Savage. So he's going to have a way to deal with those PL illusions, and those illusions are essentially just going to melt themselves. That Mjolnir makes it very, very difficult for Jackie. Of course, Jackie is going back towards that Eye of Skadi now on the Phantom Lancer. You just question whether it's going to be enough, though. So even that last team fight, everything went well, but they just couldn't kill anyone worth killing. Now Jabs with the Firefly going to go in with the Infest, and Q's going to go down, and so does the Bane. Masaros can't really do much as his Ravage is on cooldown, and now Jabs, a perfect lasso off, catching Jackie, and that'll be your peel gone. In fact, they're not even done, Abed. He's going for more. He wants Fearless and the Void Spirit, but Fearless will be able to Astral Step away. But you've got the POS 1 PL down. Couldn't be more happy if you're Among Us.
Massive wins for Among Us. That's a really amazing feeling if you're the Storm. Abed, fresh Bloodstone, 1 fight, 17 charges now. You're gonna be glad. Just so much sustain. Still though, Among Us. Whiteman.
Fearless going to jump in after Jabs. Was trying to get the TP out, but looks like he is going to end up going down perhaps. Shadow Amulet, yeah, definitely not going to be enough. The Astral Step was there from Fearless. But he won't mind. I mean, he's the position 4 Bat Rider. He doesn't even have Lasso at the moment. As long as he's doing his job while Lasso's up, he's happy.
Yeah, they actually managed to bail Whitemon out. So that split focus meant that there was no stun to punish Whitemon. And Among Us only take 1 loss, not the biggest one. MG Trust, what they need to get done now, they have the Ags up on Fearless. So there's additional silence coming out, additional control. This is going to hurt Abed. He doesn't have anything defensive yet. He is building the BKB next. But there's a window here where the BKB is not up and the AoE silence is. Got to be cautious as Fearless is going to look to flex that new item.
Up at that top lane, Abed. Gonna get spotted by Q. It's the Avalanche into the toss. Now Fearless can get the guaranteed silence off. Abed gonna pop the Bloodstone active and is gonna be alright. They can't kill him, and he's gonna turn back around onto the Bane, who could not get the Fiend's Rip off in time. And Cuckoo's gonna be there with the hoof stomp onto Q, and now Fearless. He cannot step away. He's got 5 seconds for it to be off cooldown, but the Dissimulate Juke is perhaps going to be enough. Jabs, no, he's going to get the lasso off, but he did catch the Bane. Not quite the target they wanted, but they'll take it. Down the Soulbane out from Whiteman, into the double vortex of Abed. They'll throw the Ravage out, but it might not be enough. They'll lose Jabs, but what does that mean when you're losing all your cores on Motivate Trust? Jackie trying to run back towards Abed, does get the Storm. And Boombell's actually going to buy back. They'll try and turn this one around. Masaros, buying time. Q, Avalanche Toss going to be out. Whiteman, he's falling very low and looks like he will die. Now Savage, how do you deal with this? Going to go back onto Boombell, but he's been Fiend's gripped up. They can't cancel it, so Savage is also going to die. Now Q. Oh, Cuckoo trying to TP out, but he's going to get wiped. Oh, Motivate Trust. That's a great team fight coming out.
They're going to be very pleased with themselves there, just making the most of that buyback, punishing Among Us for their overconfidence. They get easy access into that Roche Pit. Massive wins for the Tide stack. Really chuffed. Among Us, they're going to be beating themselves a bit. We saw Abed trying to zip out of the Ravage. He didn't quite get out of range. If he did, that might have ended up a bit differently, but they lost Abed very early on in the second half, and that just cost them. Free Roche for Motivate Trust, dragging that net worth lead back down. All of a sudden, a very even game once more.
It is. Free Roche ongoing. Jackie will pick it up on the PL. Looks like Among Us might have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what happened in that last team fight. It looked like it went so strong at the start, but the buyback came out from Boombell and the Ravage was committed by Masaros. They just turned it completely around.
Yeah, it's going to be down to the BKB for Abed. They just need him to be able to stand in front. And he was almost there. I believe it is flying out now. Yeah, no, actually he switched this out. Yeah, he's just going back to the Ags. So skipping the BKB. If he gets that additional AoE control, I think that's going to be it. Their combination with the Soulbind there didn't quite catch on. They got it off, but they didn't get the double lasso because Jabs had to commit in the Bane. So once you string these spells together, it could look a bit differently. But Motivate Trust, they're not giving them too much time to think. They're on the up and up. They can feel it. The Scotty's just about to be done on Jackie, 800 gold off. And once that's up, our PL, well, he's going to be a lot harder to finish off here.
And he is. There's that Scotty coming out at 400 gold. Meanwhile, Among Us, they are just sticking as a team. They can see Masteros, and they're going to try and make the jump in. He does have the Ravage. Again, can he actually die? It doesn't look like he can, so Jabs is going to jump into the backlines, but he's been nightmared up. Boombell is going to get jumped straight away by Arbed, and is down. They find another. The Soulbind is going to be out on Fearless and Masteros. A big Ravage though from Masteros, but the Vortex is out from Arbed, just holding him down. But here comes Q with the Avalanche, but it's not going to be enough. Among Us giving it back the way of Motivate Trust. And Jackie, the only man left, thanks to the Aegis, might be dead anyway. So Arbed goes in with the Inkswell, and he won't even need it.
Oh, man.
What the?
Oh.
What a back and forth game from these two.
Just the bounce backs, the full team wipes from each side. Playing to the limits, and Among Us, not scared to force a fight into the Aegis. They still make it work. They actually didn't even expend the lasso from Jabs. He still has that on the Bat Rider. They didn't need the double lasso. They just had all the control, all the damage. And that just sets themselves up for a really good time now. 5k lead built up. AC up on Savage. AC Mjolnir. Armlet at 29 minutes. Just really good progression for the Life Sealer. And we're just starting to chip away. Tier 2 mid going to be taken out. MG Trust, you got to be a bit more cautious now as Q.
Yeah, he's gone. Arbed makes the jump. Jabs does have lasso, but no, they can't actually catch him. The spider legs. Gonna make it so he can get out, and Jabs might be just left here to die. And that will be the case. That rider does go down. With that now, Among Us are just gonna have to take it easy for the next 45 seconds. On the brighter side, though, Arbed does finish off the Ags.
It's just beautiful. That mini black hole in play, Mike. Easier ways to initiate, a lot more control that will come out. And that first use of the Ags Vortex can be very important to set the tone for the next fights. Just makes it more impactful if you've got the Infest play with Savage as well, right? It's just a lot scarier to go into and gives you a much more burst at the start still. Jackie does finish up that Scotty, so he's a bit tankier in the PL, and there is a smoke immediately from MG Trust.
This crack. Just loop behind. Cuckoo about to break the smoke, but not quite in range yet. Counter smoke is there from Among Us. Perhaps just trying to play the bait. They draw an exact circle as well. It seems like they know where they are. So they will avoid them Among Us. They're not interested in a bad team fight at the moment. I believe they are also very close to an Aghanim Scepter on Whiteman. So they might just wait that one out.
Yeah, that's going to be big. You know, he's got the Aetherlance as well for his cast range. It's a very low committal to get some PL clones, and those clones will hit hard. Still, Jackie, given the space to clear a tier 2 bot, does get it with no challenge. Giving a little bit more control out for MG Trust, but their top tier 2 is gone as well. And there's that Axe. So, Soulbind, Dark Portrait going to be in play. Can be a big one.
Arbed's got an Arcane Rune to boot. That's going to be problematic now for Motivate Trust. You generally don't want to fight into the Arcane Rune Storm. Nor the Aghanim Scepter Storm, for that matter. We haven't really seen that being used yet. And with that Grimstroke Ink Portrait, I suppose they're just looking to take over the PL, right? Because you can get illusions off that portrait, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's going to be really easy to maximize that if you can. And we've seen the Dark Portraits actually do a ton of damage outwards, right? It just does so much more against a team like that. You've got a lot of farm on Jackie, so it's not like those Dark Portrait illusions are just going to tickle. They're actually going to be very impactful here if you do manage to catch him out. So MG Trust has to be a bit careful. Still, both teams just playing it a bit slower, playing that farm game. What are we looking for? 4 staff for Jab is going to be next. And, you know, we're still looking for that BKB on Abed, just to have that security. There's a Lincoln's up now for Fearless. So if you do jump in and lasso or soulbind, it's going to be blocked. You have to be cautious about that, as they have been targeting the Void Spirit as well. It has been the Bane for the most part, but, you know, the Void Spirit doesn't hurt. And they're in for a surprise if they do drop the lasso on him in the next fight.
Like Savage is trying to finish off a nullifier on that life stealer, and maybe that might be the cue to go for a big smoke. It's quite close to it actually. Just needs to buy that sacred relic, and he's got 300 gold off it. Try and deal with these PL illusions, just taking out his creep wave.
Yeah, it's just slowly building up, waiting for those key items. Jackie is going for the Abyssal next. There's that nullifier you were talking about for Savage. So they can pin someone down, keep them in place, and twack that damage on. Of course, that does mean there's going to be a disparity between the Abyssals, as Jackie's probably going to have his first. That could mean that he can get the jump in a very big way. And it's something Among Us has to be cautious about still. They've got Abed and Savage together now. Infest Bomb ready to go.
It's waiting. Can't forget Abed still doesn't have that BKB up. He's about halfway there, so they're not looking to wait for it. And, well, Savage does jump out of Abed, so it looks like they might just be willing to wait. Boundary rings did come up anyway, so it's probably worth going and getting those instead of looking for a kill here. And Abed is he's just gonna push out the top wave, maybe hope for the gold for a BKB. Of course, without that Abyssal Blade being finished up on Jackie, it looks like MG Trust, they aren't too interested in forcing a team fight yet. They might just wait for that one big item, unless Masteros gets caught out. But he's a Tide Hunter, he should be right.
Yeah, it's given enough time for Cuckoo to finish his heart. So he's really tanky now in that center. Heart up, Pipe and Crimson Guard up earlier. You're gonna be hard pressed to chew through the Centaur, and that is gonna be something that they've got to be cautious about. Cuckoo's been very on point, acting as bait. He's not the target you want to hit first here if you are MG Trust.
Savage is gonna back off as well down to that bot lane. Back with the invest onto Jabs. Dota Plus has been a bit confused today, but sitting at 71% right now.
Oh, there's that full Abyssal up for Jackie, so they might look to make a play with it. Of course, that does give him a control advantage over Savage because of that Nullifier Detour. We'll see if that will affect them. Just been lounging around. No engagement between both sides. Very cautious. From MG Trust, I'd say it's a bit more cautious because you've seen Among Us smoke up a lot more. Still.
They are initiating onto Cuckoo, but he's got a heart up now. So the best they're doing is just draining the mana of Cuckoo and actually drain a substantial amount of it. They probably can't get through the raw HP of Cuckoo yet. Not until he's just been left alone. I think for Motivate Trust, they're seeing a lot of these items being picked up by Among Us, and they just don't know how to initiate here.
Yeah, pretty good play coming out from Whitemon. Yeah, his Dark Portrait illusion of Jackie taking out the Courier. Just stalling some wards out, denying some vision, and that Roche from Among Us, it melts really quick here.
Masteros, he's coming close, but he's not going to make it in time. Jabs, nice lasso out, does catch Boombo once again, and they just burst down the Bane. Now with the Flame Break back onto Masteros, and he is not as tanky as he used to be. The Nullifier making short work of him, or is it he's still trying to run, but no, he's gone. On to the next, Abed. zips on to the Tiny. That'll mean Q is certainly dead. Whiteman with a triple kill on the Grimstroke of all things.
Gotta love it coming out for White One. That is enough for him to finish up his blink. So he's gonna have the opportunities to jump in and get a good soul bind off. Get some Dark Portraits on, silence us off. Really set up for his team as MG Trust, off the back of a bad fight, suddenly are 10k behind. We haven't seen the effect of Jackie's Abyssal yet. He was on a different part of the map. He is building towards the Ags. Once you've got that, you can play around a bit more. He might be thinking of jumping Abed here.
Does. Abed does actually go down.
Ooh.
It's a very nice play from Jack.
That's painful. Like, he swapped in the cheese a bit too late there, Abed. He also popped his BKB. That was his 10-second charge. And it's that control factor. You just can't underestimate a PL with Abyssal. And that is the reveal. So an effective reveal nonetheless for MG Trust despite losing the earlier team fight. That's going to push Among Us back a bit. They're not going to be able to go for any objectives. They're going to have to wait the full minute 10 for Abed to be back up.
It's a bit of a time frame. Yeah, they'll be fine to wait it out. It's not like MG Trust can actually get anything done in that time anyway. They've got 55 seconds, but they're not really close by to any objectives. They're just trying to get some more farm up on Jackie. I guess once he has that Ags up, he should feel a bit more confident going into these fights.
Yeah, gives him more mobility, more options to run in. This is stalling out for Savage to finish up his own Abyssal. So he's already got the Vanguard up. He's just waiting, on the farm. Not going to take too long when they've got this much control on the map. I might have to wait for the Aegis to expire unless he swaps an item down for the Abyssal. But it's going to be there. And that disparity in control is going to kind of lose meaning once Savage has that. So they're going to set eyes on the bot tier 2. Just a bit of a shove. You can see MG Trust shove out that top tier 2 a bit as well. It's a bit of a back and forth between both teams.
Masteros TP's in and Savage completely ignores him. Doesn't care for the tide. Abed gonna get another Arcane Rune to bottle up. He's gonna be a very, very happy man with that. Does also have level 25 now. You know, at that late game stage where you start to expect both teams to go at it.
It's a pretty big spike for Savage, right? Like plus 1.5 seconds on Rage. A lot more uptime, a lot more effectiveness there. They do go for an Infest DP play.
And they're not going to find the target they wanted. Dab's just going to fly through, but nobody there. Instead, mid lane, MG Trust. Just going to stand behind Masaros and see if they can bait somebody to go for that kill. They haven't really been focusing on Masaros whatsoever throughout this game, so it's very doubtful they would. They'll go back to their triangle, but Jabs is posturing. It's underneath an Observer Ward now, but so are the side of Motivate Trust. Jabs, that lasso is going to go on Fearless. They break the Lincolns, and the Fiend Strip is going to do nothing. And now Abed, with a 3-man Vortex off on the Storm, is just going to melt them. Jackie's trying to run, but they are gone.
Oh, man.
See you later, Masaros.
Oh, boy. That was just wonderful from Among Us. The Dark Portrait of Whitemon was zoning Masaros out. Like, he was stuck there. He was losing mana from that Dark Portrait. The Ags paying massively to break the team fight up, split up MG Trust, and they're going straight for tier 4s.
Yeah, it's over. There's no buybacks there. One Vortex from Abed and the game's over. Of course, all props to Jabs for getting that lasso before he could get Fiend Script by the Bane. Well, that'll be game 1 to Among Us, but John, all props to Motivate. They made it look like a really even game for most of that game number 1.
Oh yeah, definitely. The early game, you were seeing free farm out in Jackie. Masaros was a massive tide. And even Fearless was finding, his timing on the ults was a bit later than the Orchid, but he was keeping up for the most part. Q was making some fantastic toss plays. being disruptive towards Japs early on. It just didn't line up. They played a bit too passive. There was no punishment for Abid's farming and Savage's farming. They tried to play the farming game against the Storm and the Lifestealer when they had, they had a PL, but they only really had a Void Spirit. Doesn't quite line up. We'll see if they couldn't correct that playstyle in game number 2. If they want to play the farming game, I'd say you need greedier cores if you don't expect Among Us to punish you. So that's something to watch out for as game 2 unfolds.
We'll be getting into that game 2 in about 10 minutes. It's MLP Dota John X Fire. We'll see you all again very, very soon.
Ooh, that's life.
you
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for game number 2 between Among Us and Motivate Trust. It's MLP Dota and John X5. John, welcome back, sir. How you feeling?
No, I'm feeling great, Mike. Had a bit of downtime after, it's hard to believe we're still in the second series. I needed a bit of a pickup. I had some Monster. I'm sure you did as well. What flavor did you have today, Mike?
Same one I've got on the desk right now, John. Mango Loco. I'm out of pipeline punch, unfortunately, but gonna get some more tomorrow. Don't you worry, sir. I have a new can for you tomorrow. Still, John, draft has begun. Among Us, they have gone for the Disruptor pickup to start us off. Motivate Trust, they go for the Tiny Oracle.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shakeup. Looking at hammering in a much more solid support duo here for Motivate Trust. You can expect them to be a bit more aggressive with a Tiny Oracle. They can draft safe lane core that maximizes this Oracle as well. You might be looking at a Sven. You might be looking at the Troll if they're not banned out still. Among Us, they're going with something different here as well. The Disruptor comes out, the Bloodseeker as well. We have seen Cuckoo play the Blood off, so maybe that's the game plan here once more, but really flexible hero. Could go in multiple lanes. We'll see what exactly they have in mind. It lines up with the Disruptor well, though. Like, Static Storm, Kinetic Field, and Bloodright all together are pretty nice. So it opens up a lot of combos here for Among Us. And, this series is a bit closer than yesterday. It's definitely more competitive. MG Trust is making them work for it. And if they play their cards right, they might be able to even upset them in at least one game here.
They could. I mean, that last game, it was looking good. Obviously, the way it ended was quite a dominant kind of way to end it for Among Us, but Motivate Trust, they were keeping up in farm. They were giving it back to the side of Among Us and see if they can maybe change up the draft a bit. I mean, we've seen so much PL as of late for some reason. And I don't know what the record is, but I can't remember seeing many PLs win over the past few days. It just seems like it is kind of out of meta right now, and it just takes a bit too much farm to make it do anything.
Yeah, it's been on a bit of a lower bar there. You've got to be cautious about going off meta heroes like that. Like, there's a reason why you don't see too much PL nowadays. It's been off. The timing's been off as well. We'll see what exactly Motivated Trust does give Jackie. Now, props to Jackie, though. His farm was really good. He had all the farm in the world. His farming patterns were perfect. He wasn't being punished as much as you'd expect. And he grew big. It's just not big enough in the PL. We'll see what they opt for. You're looking for something with the Oracle. They've ignored the Troll Among Us. They've ignored the Sven. This could easily come out here with the Oracle. Even a TB can be there. Although into a Bloodseeker, that's a bit shaky at best. That makes it tricky for you to just stand and fight. Yeah, the magic damage really can ruin you. So some options there, some options not so viable. We'll see what Motivated Trust does. When you pick the Oracle, you do want a pause one that maximizes it. Otherwise, it's kind of a moot pick if you don't.
No, that's fair. That's a very fair point. Well, final ban out now. We'll get to see where this draft is going for both teams. Among Us. It'll take a bit of time for this one. They could ban out the Troll right now if they did want to, just to save themselves the headache of going against that Oracle Troll. But no, they're actually going to ban out the PL. And they're going to go into the Morphling for Savage.
Yeah, the Savage special comes out. This also sort of preempts like a Terrorblade pickup, right? So if you wanted to go Oracle Terrorblade, you're going to have to contend with the fact that Morphling is going to have a free ride into Metamorphosis, and we know how that goes. Morphling enjoys it, so you're gonna have to think twice about your hero choice with the Oracle here. Morphling's gonna enjoy the Terrorblade. He's gonna enjoy the Sven even. So you've got to watch out. Still pretty open here for Motivate Trust. Not sure if they want to reveal that safe lane. They do see the off lane and safe lane matchup though. They can kind of plan around that with the next few picks.
They can. Morphling probably going to be a bit of a headache to deal with here for Motivate Trust. Obviously does limit your options as to what you can pick up. Okay, they'll go for the Prophet, which is, it's been popping up here and there to mixed results. Not revealing too much here, Motivate Trust. Just going for a very safe pickup in that profit.
Yeah, you're leaving it open whether or not that's going to be the Masteros, Fearless, or Jackie hero. So it could be in either core position, really open. It's an interesting one up against a Bloodseeker. Say if you're trying to run away on low HP, making a TP play, you're going to be easily spotted out. Bloodseeker can just hone into you, so got to watch out for those kinds of on the edge plays. Not going to be too easy to pull off in this game. Gonna have to be cautious as well. There's a lot of wave clear here from Among Us, right? Like Bloodseeker's there. Now you've got the ET on top. The combinations here for Among Us are looking good. Static Storm, Kinetic Field, and then Bloodright on top. Elder Titan Stomp. It's all really lining up well. The timings are looking good. The aggression that you can get out here for Among Us is pretty fantastic. And Motivate Trust, they've still got a lineup that can sort of deal with it. They don't have as good of team fight though. Like they only really have the tiny, right? Avalanche tosses it. Gonna have to look and see if they want to get more 5v5 team fight potential there. It's got to come out in the next 2 hero picks.
I'll tell you, they have a lot of that Blood Rage is going to do a lot of damage though. Like you've got Blood Rage plus the Elder Titan aura, reducing everyone's. It's going to be very, very painful. But Motivate Trust, they go for the Drow Ranger now. You don't have the Venge there with her, so it is lacking just a bit, but I suppose they could still go for a Venge pick if they want. It has not been banned out yet, but they do end up picking up the Drow.
I don't know about this one. The Drow has been really up and down. Even with the Venge, right? Even with the Venge, it does kind of middling. In this case, Morphling doesn't mind turning into Drow, for one. You don't have the best ways to catch out the Drow, that's one thing, and I guess it's a hero with the Oracle, but it's not quite the kind of combination you look for in Oracle. So kind of nebulous as to how effective that combination is. You see Among Us actually do ban Avenge, so you're not even going to have that to fall back to. We're going to have to see what Motivate Trust do to tie it up. It's not looking particularly impressive. It does look to be focused on push, so it's a lot of shoving down towers fast with the NP, with the Drow, taking these objectives, shutting down the map. But in terms of actually facing up against the heroes Among Us has, it's not the sharpest. It's not quite the same amount of control. It's not the same amount of damage. I love that Among Us also banned out the DK. Just taking out these push heroes that work with the Drow, just ensuring that the last pick for MG Trust is going to be difficult to really synergize with the rest of it.
Oh, alright, they'll finish off with the Tusk, so they did get the Venge banned on Among Us' side of things, so Tusk will come out, and obviously it's a decent combo with the Drow, because you could just frost arrows and tag team. It's a lot of damage, but Among Us, I'm sure they know how to deal with this. Their final pickup now. They are just lacking an Arbit hero. Generally seems like you want someone to close the gap on the Drow.
Yeah. They've got the Void Spirit still there if they wanted that. You could go with a Quap, you could go with a Puck, close the back line. I think a Puck would tie in that team fight really nicely if you wanted that. Just have to worry about that silence from a Drow. Pretty open. Motivate Trust closing out with a Tusk. You mentioned the synergy. The early damage is great. I worry about scaling here. It's after the laning phase for that damage output. Like, tag team still does work. It's just not the same as, say, a Static Storm. It's not the same as the Stomp from the ET. It's just not the same scaling. So that's something Motivate Trust has to be aware of. They've got to play with their lanes fast with their Tusk +1 combo, whoever it is that ends up being his lane partner. And there's the Kunkka coming out for Among Us. So stacking on that durability for Abed, giving them control for the NP with the X. Tying up that team fight as well. It's looking pretty darn good for Among Us. Motivate Trust, they are looking better in terms of aggression. So the heroes can fight faster. They can look for opportunities from the laning phase. They're going to have to do that. You don't want to give out these kills early on. You have to be finding them. With that Tiny, with the Tusk, you got to maximize that early game here.
I agree. Did see the Abed Kunkka the other day. It was very, very effective.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he does perform in this game number 2. They are going to have what appears to be the mid Tiny up against Abed's Kunkka. We haven't seen this one yet over the group stages, the core Tiny to come out, but Fearless is going to be on that.
Yeah. It's the last time we've seen that was really more prevalent in China for the most part, right? Like we saw a lot of Somnus mid Tiny, but it hasn't really caught on outside. It still has potency, right? Like early timers are there. You get an early Shadow or Blink. You're going to be doing damage. You're going to be setting up for your team. That is still vital here for MG Trust. Get to that good start. Get that Blink fast on Fearless. And start hunting. Like, it's going to take some time for Savage to be big. It's going to take a little bit of investment as well for Abbott to actually start dishing the damage out. You have to use that early window here. And another thing that's really important beyond just winning out those lanes is really where Boombell goes as the Tusk, right? Like, he needs to ensure that his presence leads to kills. If not kills, then he needs to make his presence really tough in that lane up. And you're already seeing, well, at least 3 heroes down. But they're actually sending Jackie on the off lane here. And we'll see if that pays off. The aggression... the aggression you can get out with a Drow and Tusk early on. You talked about it's Frost Arrows tag team. Even a Root coming out from Q. You can more than likely find some kills here and just back and forth. Both teams just really happy.
I don't know what my pro's done, but apparently they reckon he is the best carry in C.
It's their guild, right? MY. Kitty quick. Look, I have no clue who they're calling out, but Bonchan. Now they're just making us hungry. Here we go.
Here we go again. Clans are going to end soon, though, aren't they? Like, the battle pass is going to wear off, and then clans are gone.
Yeah.
That's sad.
I mean, they're supposed to be gone, right? They were supposed to be gone. They're not gone yet. You reckon Immortal Treasure Tree comes out? Because they said they're not going to end it until then, but you never know.
I don't know. I have no clue, John. Q takes the bounty rune down bot. It'll be a 2-for-2 trade to get us started. And what I'm very, very intrigued about is how this mid matchup is going to go between Fearless and Abed. I mean, the Tiny's very effective, obviously, with the tree grab at CSing. But it's going to get to a point where that Tidebringer is really going to start to hurt. Unless you can get some nice tossbacks into your tier 1 tower or something like that, it's going to be a hard lane for him eventually.
Yeah, it's not a very easy matchup. I'd say it's explosive at level 4 for Fearless, so when you get 2-2 in your skill points, you can go for a play, or at least 2-1-1 on your skill points. Maybe try to go for an avalanche toss kill, but Abed's, it's going to be a smooth ramp up. Tidebringer's just going to sustain him. The supports are going to have to make that difference up, and you know, it's not going to be an easy time. You look up top, you've got Masaros on the NP, of course, with Boombell on the Tusk. So it's actually the NP Tusk lane, tag team with the Treants is what they're looking for. No early try lane for that first blood, but it's not a very easy lane to really force it. Savage is around there. They've got Jabs helping him out in the ET, and even if you get the tag team off, you can just kind of shift through and stay alive.
Whiteman running at them, forcing out the tag team from Boombell. They do seem very afraid of this Elder Titan, as of course with the Astral Spirit, even at level 1, you can essentially just get double the damage that you have, and it's kind of ridiculous how much damage Elder Titan can pump out. It's back down to that bot lane. Q and Jackie having a decent old time, not too stressed out about trying to harass out Cuckoo. Wyman will give him a bit of a Thunder Strike, but the Fortune's End is going to be able to purge that off anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be a smooth lane for Cuckoo for the most part. Now, he's not going to necessarily slow down Jackie's farm. At the same time, Jackie's not going to be able to put a dent in Cuckoo's farm. This is going to be a farm-for-farm trading lane, and it should actually benefit Cuckoo a bit more just to maintain that pace. You know, Bloodseeker with the early Veil can do a lot of damage and can set the pace of the game. Something you're going to have to be careful about.
Top lane, Masteros gonna be the first blood, and Jabs, he just keeps rushing forward. Boombill could not get away from this man, and eventually Jabs will go down, but he does help set up both kills and eventually takes one for himself, and that's gonna be a great start out for Among Us.
Yeah, just that's exactly what you want when you've got the ET. You want to enable that aggressive play, and it pays off big. He did have to expend his salve to get that chase off, but you find a kill, so you're happy enough. You're going to be able to TP into, well, no, not regen Savage up, because you don't have any left, but still a smooth lane coming out for Savage. Widow's kill, it's going to be very happy. You're not seeing the same farm from Masaros. He's at 7 to 8, compared to Savage's 13, 14 to 5. You're not slowing that Morphling down.
Nice multi-shot out at Jackie. Is going to be able to pick off Whiteman, and Cuckoo was trying to go after Q, but Q's going to be able to salve up and slow Cuckoo right down. Fortune's End is going to fly out, but we do have a pause out from Arbid now. Not 100% sure what the problem is, but I assume it's just a tiny bit of lag coming out. Speaking of that mid lane, Fearless is standing real far back. Looks like he has been taking quite a bit of harassment out from this Kunkka and has had to go back and get some regen for himself. Does bring out a set of tangos.
Yeah, he does have his bottle early, so he's going to be able to maybe play around those power runes. Again, going to be important for the Tiny to find those just to ensure you've got that regen going. So, again, watch the 4-minute mark for the sports, which it's going to be important. We've seen a lot of teams put that emphasis on the mid just to get those first runes. Wouldn't be surprised to see it here still. Ready to go, and Cuckoo is fine.
He's still running. They haven't got a way to hold him down any further. I mean, you've got Boombill there with the snowball, but I don't know if you really have the damage output. It just seems like they're more than happy to make Cuckoo run around instead of being in the bot lane. That seems to be the idea here, but even Boombill going to sneak up from behind now to Cuckoo, but won't be able to get anything done. Meanwhile, mid lane, Fearless is dropping very low. He's going to juke out the torrent. Does get a toss off. Arbid wants to go for the final swing, and the Thunderstrike is going to be out from Whiteman as well. But now the Snowball is coming into Arbid, and this should be a trade. It will be. Q able to pick up that one on the Oracle. But you're still very happy if you're Arbid. And even top lane Jabs. He just rushes Masaros with the Auto Titan again and offers him a glass of water.
Yeah, that's one thing you've got to watch out for, just the amount of damage that the ET can do. Jabs has been running down Masteros for a while. You can't leave that lane alone, and they do finally send Q up to do some damage, but Jabs is already happy.
Mid lane, they end up actually dropping Whiteman, and now Q ends up killing off Jabs on his way out. Masteros will just TP his way back in on the Prophet. Of course, Whiteman on the Disruptor, John. He was trying to soak some XP in the mid lane, but does end up getting caught out by the Tiny and the Tusk.
Yeah, it's that early aggression here for MG Trust. That's what their lineup has to get up to. So they're starting to find this aggressive plays, making it work for themselves. They're not finding bigger kills. When you're still happy with just finding these support pickups, you would really want to start to maybe get the kills on the Bloodseeker. But look at that disparity between Cuckoo and Jackie. Jackie's at 5. Cuckoo's still just about to hit 4. Our Drow now off to a very good start compared to that BS.
That's a real problem. I mean, he's got the creeps near his tier 1 tower, so he's going to feel fairly safe. And even Jabs now is going to rotate in with Whiteman. They take out Boombill's courier. Bloodright to come out. They would really love to get Jackie on this Drow, but now actually Whiteman going to get turned on by Boombill and the tag team, and they actually end up giving up the Disruptor. No kill on Jackie. No kill on anyone for that matter. That's a big win out for Motivate Trust.
Yeah, they're finding the kills. Again, the early aggression starting to pay off a massive amount. You're not finding that snowball start on the Bloodseeker as you'd want. They have diverted their resources out to Abed and Savage, so they're getting the farm out for those two heroes, but you got to be cautious about how much space you give Jackie. This guy is just on top there as a Drow, and once they make their way to tier 1s, those aren't going to stand for too long.
Speaking of tier 1, Savage has gotten started on that top tier 1 tower. Azeroth not wanting to get too close to this Morphling, who is out-leveling him by 1. Now, to make matters worse for Masaros, Jabs is here, but a great avalanche toss out from Fearless. Sneaking up behind 23 Savage and does end up getting the kill with the avalanche toss.
That's an important one. They've left that Morphling alone for a bit too long. Finally getting the punishment. That's going to give the MG Trust a definite edge. Slowing down that Morphling farm, which is, again, what Among Us is banking on. You still got Savage up in #1 in net worth. Jackie's not too far behind, though. That does save their tier 1 for a bit longer. But MG Trust, with these movements, must be feeling pretty good. They just need Masaros to bounce back in, and he's already 6. After that rough start, he's starting to slowly build in on the NP. Still a lot slower than you'd want, but it's a better time than even Cuckoo. Like, you compare that to Cuckoo's off, still at 4. No rupture up yet, no farm at all.
This is so rough, but Masaros is going to get glimpsed back at least. Cuckoo's still in danger, has TPs coming in, but it's not going to matter. Fearless able to set up for Jackie. Now Arbet does rotate, but the Edict is going to stop the magic damage coming out on Fearless. Arbet's still going to go for the chase, but Fortune's End, no, it's not going to be enough. But they'll turn around now on that Kunkka. Arbet, he's a tanky man, but he may not be tanky enough as he is dropping quite low and does go down to Q on the Oracle. And MG Trust, they are really taking a nice lead in this game #2. So, Cuckoo does TP back in, but this bot lane is just completely lost for Among Us.
Oh yeah, and all they find is a trade for Masaros up top, opening up that push once more for Savage, but losing Cuckoo again is not worthwhile. That's not the trade. Slow start for the Bloodseeker, Mike. No rupture. I mean, he's going to have to play in the jungle. Again, this is space being bought out for Abed and for Savage, but what do you expect a Bloodseeker to do now when he's lower than the supports of MG Trust? Boomball, about to hit the 6 mark. Tier 1 bot going to be traded for the Tier 1 top. And MG Trust, they've got a slight lead. 1k gold advantage, but 6 to 10 on kills. They've got a nice amount of EXP above their heads as well. And they're starting to take over that bot jungle. Among Us, they can't play here anymore.
They cannot. On the brighter side, of course, Savage did manage to kill off Masaros up at that top lane, so your Prophet is having an even rougher time. At least he's on at level 6. Cuckoo, he just can't catch a break. Fearless is not going to leave him alone. Does get another kill onto this Bloodseeker. He is level 5 now, but just getting him back into the graveyard. And they're going to start setting up for that mid lane. Jackie, he's joined in. Still Arbet, going to go for an X-Back, but a nice snowball back towards the creep wave out from Boombell will save Fearless the headache.
Again, you can see the discipline from MG Trust playing the objectives game with their Drow draft. And there's just nothing Among Us can really do. They can drop the blood right, but the tower's already really low.
Grouping up again. Looks like MG Trust, they want to take this fight. They do get the tier 1 tower. They're going to be able to catch anyone out. Not quite. Shards just way off target. But they got what they came for. You got a quick mid-tier 1. I suppose the only problem left right now for Motivate Trust is Savage has been farming freely this whole time.
Yeah, it's not a massive amount of gold he's got on top. He's just about 600 above Jackie. It's not too significant, actually. It's pretty much, it's not even a big item. And you're still waiting on Savage to finish up his Manta. He's going to go into the E-Blade next. That's when you start to find opportunities for burst, especially if you play with, say, Blood Rage later on from Cuckoo. Once he has that up, if you pump it onto Savage to get the shotgun blast off, you're going to delete people off the map. It's just that you have to get to that. So, you know, just stalling out this game is the best Among Us can really hope for the next few minutes. Stimmy the push, you know. Stimmy the bleeding. Stop it out for a bit. Keep yourself safe. Find some safe spots on the map to farm. Savage is doing the right thing, playing in that top jungle where there are no real wards, nothing to stop that farm, and that's the best you can hope for right now.
Masaros does TP bot and does find Whiteman. Gets the sprout off, but gets glimpsed back immediately. Nature's Wrath will fly through. Among Us, I'm not sure if they can take this fight. Snowball, going to be out on jabs, but that'll force out the boat from Arbit. Right onto Boombill. He's pretty low with that rupture and he's going to drop it. Now Savage is going to join his team. They do pick off Fearless on that mid-tiny. The chase continues. They'd love to get Jackie on this Drow. That Blood Right going to be well positioned with the Torrent out from Arbed. And that means this Drow Ranger may have just lost his life though. No, they do get the false promise off in time. But Savage has got so much damage coming out. I think Jackie might just die anyway. And will. Cuckoo has him surrounded with Savage, and there goes your Drow. Not to mention Q also being caught now on the Oracle does go down, and Boombill is not out of the woods yet. He just brought back on that task, but they're just going to keep rushing him. Savage on top, goes for the waveform through, gets tossed back by Fearless. They do lose jabs. Have they gone too far? Snowball is out from Boombill, but no. They don't seem to have the damage output. Savage is actually blocked up by those trees. Thinking about turning back around. Fearless, avalanche toss on Arbed, just trying to get that Kunkka down. He is now trapped in the Sprout, but still on the run. Turns around for a Tidebringer, but does eventually go down. Savage might not want to stick around that area. They do toss Boombill in. He's got the Walrus Punch. He's got the Snowball available. And Savage is going to waveform. Still, the Snowball is going to follow him down. They have control, but a great stomp out from Jabs. It's going to stop him in their tracks. That'll be it for that team fight.
Yeah, it's still a pretty big win for Among Us. They managed to find Jackie. They trade away Abed for that, but they win out in the end. It's still a slight lead now for MG Trust, but you can see Savage start to pull ahead from those kills on him. 7.4k compared to Jackie's around 6k. So a nice 1.5k lead, as I believe Savage is flying out his Manta, or at least a recipe. So it's almost there. Into the Scotty next. That's the point where Savage can start to apply some more presence, but MG Trust are not leaving any room to breathe, keeping that shove down bot.
Very easy push for them. Bloodright gonna come out to delay things, but oh, they're gonna start a fight. Fearless does jump in onto Whitemon. It's another disruptor kill for himself, and that'll give him his Blink Dagger money. 14 minutes in, he does now have it up. He's also going to find a nice double damage rune for himself in this Tiny. So expect him to try and get another kill very, very soon.
Yeah, just racking up the damage. Among Us, the one big issue for them right now is the level 6 timings on their supports, particularly Whitemon. He's been stuck at 5. And he needs to hit that 6 point. They need a Static Storm to come out. Jabs has been on point with his stomps, but you just need that additional control. And he does have his ult up as well here, Jabs. Finally getting the point in. Once you have that tool from Whitemon, you might be able to look for more opportunities with a counter plays. But you are down in control now. That bot jungle not very safe for anyone in Among Us to go into.
Avalanche toss. That'll be Whiteman gone. Poor Disruptor just trying to get some D wards out, but immediately dies to the Tiny. Among Us just trying to allow Cuckoo to catch up on this Bloodseeker, and in all fairness, he has reached level 9 now. So he's getting there. He's very close to being fully caught up. But in terms of net worth, he is very low. I mean, 4.3k is pretty abysmal. Behind the Oracle of all things on the other side. Not a very good position for him.
No, and you know he's going for that Blade Mail build, just to have that value item up early. You tend to see the Veil be prioritized. You just can't go for it. Like there's not enough to really maximize it as well. So that does put the utility back just a touch for Among Us on that Bloodseeker. Down mid though.
See X off on Boombill, but the Snowball will be there in time, and Whitemon, he's already gone, and now Fearless, well, he gets blown up by Savage. So 1 for 1, but it looks like Among Us are going to be ahead here. There's Boombill, he'll try for the TP, Arbed will just X him back, that'll be Boombill gone. And of course, meanwhile, Q, he is also surrounded with the false promise out, does get the TP off in time, but does die in the fountain. That'll be a 3 for 1 trade, I believe it was. Only Whitemon going down for Among Us. Even then, he's died that many times on the Disruptor, I really don't think he minds anymore.
No, definitely doesn't. You're gonna be happy if you're Among Us. You get the big kills. You punish Fearless for being a bit too keen. And you're building up still. There's just a lot more room to grow as the game goes late and they find more.
Or Jackie, that's the big one. Blood Ride to come in. Masaros TP'd into the Blood Ride. Maybe he saved the Drow, but he's given his own life away here. He's trying to run. Fearless, a great avalanche toss with the multi-shot out. Jabs is very low, does go down to the Purifying Flames, but there goes Masaros. Also dying on the Prophet. Savage just going to TP his way out on the Morph. Abed trying to do the same. Everyone missing out on those TPs. And Whitemon actually survives the avalanche toss this time around. Does get himself away.
Oh yeah, just a really messy back and forth in the end. I believe Among Us are going to be happy. They're keeping Masaros down as much as Kuku has been kept down. Still been a bit better for the NP, but not by much. So you're going to be happy with that. There's a smoke here from MG Trust, though. They're going to keep hunting.
Yeah. I mean, you've got such low cooldowns. I mean, there's essentially no cooldowns apart from the False Promise. You may as well just keep going. Fearless into Savage. That'll be a massive pickoff. Avalanche toss. Not quite enough. Not even with the multi-shot. Savage will try to waveform out. Now the trade. They want to turn around and fight here. Among Us do get the boat out. Onto Jackie with the stomp out from Jabs. Still Fearless. Going to jump back in for an avalanche toss, but Kuku just trying to get out. Will not be able to. The Fortune's End is going to be enough. Who are they aiming here? Jabs getting trapped up on the low ground. Can't get the stomp off in time. He'll also be the one to go down. They're going to try for a Roshan play.
Oh, that's going to be a big one. You're not in a position here for Among Us to try to fight in. They can't afford to give it out, but you can't expect 3 heroes to do enough. And MG Trust, you talked about it, but no cooldowns to wait for. They're always ready to fight. It feels like that momentum's a bit too much for Among Us to play again. Like MG Trust, they're just all over the map, forcing the aggression. Among Us need more time to farm, and they're not being given that time.
It's basically all on just Savage to get that farm up, and he is still doing a great job of getting his net worth up. It's just that Morphling is so weak right now that it just takes a lot more time. You need more items on this hero than you used to. It's like just back in the day you used to just buy a shotgun and it was fine. You were good to go, but it's not so much the case anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be slower going. Another factor as well is that Kuku still hasn't recovered too well. He's still lagging behind. He's barely ahead of Q, mind you. Like a while ago, he was behind Q, so that's an improvement compared to being behind. But again, you want to see a little bit more progress there. Still, MG Trust, they've got that Aegis. They're feeling confident. 20 minutes in, 14 to 19, clearing out that top tier 1. No defense coming out, of course, as it's pretty much a dead lane. Not much you can really expect there, although.
Kuku just ruptured it, TPing Tiny. Turn around onto Boombill, but the glimpse back is going to ruin the Blood Ride. Bit of miscoordination there, and Jabs is by himself across the map. He's also going to get caught out by Fearless.
Yeah, and that punishment is costing them. This is delaying the Ags timing for Jabs. They really need it just to get the full channel off from their spells, and having that spell immunity up when the Astral Spirit is out, very helpful. It's delayed. It's really delayed now when he's not had that progression. So Among Us being punished for this slower playstyle, and MG Trust, they grow bigger and bigger. They've got that Spirit Vessel up on Boombill, so you've got a way to mitigate that regen that is coming out on Savage. It's just the bane of every single morph. Having your strength morph be affected in such a way always hurts, and that's going to make it more complicated for Savage to keep himself alive.
That it will, but he's got an Aghanim Scepter himself now. So what's the idea? He's going to morph into Jabs? Get the Aghanim upgrade from Jabs, get a free BKB and stolen damage?
Perhaps, yeah. That sounds like it. Just the free damage, then you swap back to Morphling. It sounds pretty ridiculous. Even Abed, right? They turn into a second Kunkka with 2 X's, 2 Torrents. That's pretty good as well.
Torrent Storm's gonna be quite nice
Oh yeah.
for Savage, but he does go for the Order Titan.
Okay, how much damage?
That's not too much.
Yeah, it's actually a bit underwhelming. Just 55 bonus. You'd want more, but this is, it's helpful. It's low committal to get the spirit out. You're not wasting much just running through there. And it is a nice scouting tool, so Savage can protect himself. It looks so funny when you see two of them flying out, though.
Yeah.
Just a bit strange.
This spirit's just spirit. Oh, it's gone. It was stuck in the trees.
Yeah, because he lost the form.
Yeah.
You gotta love the beta game, Mike.
Yep.
You gotta love it.
Fearless mid lane. Yeah, a little bit cautious there, just showing himself for a second. Go for a smoke. Spirit is going to go through, and they know Jabs is pinging it out. Good. Stuck around there. There's an avalanche toss out from Fearless. He is a bit tankier than you'd expect now, so Bloodright is going to be able to come out with the Rupture. A snowball. Tiny away, but Fearless going to have to take the stop now from Jabs, but it's going to be no follow-up to that. That'll pretty much be it.
Yeah, it's not the biggest loss in the world for Among Us. Again, they've already kind of resigned to Cuckoo's fate and Cuckoo's farm. Gotta be careful still showing up here, not very safe.
Whitemon, he could go for a glimpse back, but the snowball is going to buy them some time to run. There's your glimpse coming out onto Fearless with a static storm and kinetic field. And this Tiny, well, he'll get used up. Might buy him enough time. In fact, it does, but the X is now going to be there from Arbit. Great shards out from Boombill, locking them in, and now Fearless back out with the toss. Straight onto Jabs, but the Elder Titan is still not dying. Now poor old Masaros going to get glimpsed back on the Prophet. They do finally kill Jabs. But can they retreat without being punished? Oh, that's a nice snowball once again from Boombill. Going to buy time to avoid the bone. Now with the multi-shot, going back in, but here comes Savage, trying to go after Q. In fact, no, they'll focus on Boombill. That'll be a Tuskon. Fearless, he's just bleeding in the corner. Can't really help right now as he waits for the Rupture to wear off. And it finally does, so we'll go after Whitemon. Doesn't really finish off the kill, or does actually with that tree throw, but it's going to cost him his own life. Or perhaps not, the false promise is out now from Q. Cuckoo still going in with the Bloodright. Is going to go down to Q on the Oracle. Savage, go back in for the Prophet. Eventually might be able to get him, but no. Again, Q saving the day. And now our Drow can turn back around onto Arbed and get that damage out. Arbed with that Heaven's Halberd, going to be able to walk away. And now Savage going back onto the Drow. It's literally Arbed versus Savage versus the world. Boombill going to come back in with the Walrus Punch now. Arbed getting a reset. He's XTPing and coming back into this fight very, very soon to help out Savage once again.
Oh.
Torrent is going to be there, the Fortune's End flying all the way back from the fountain onto Masaros. The Prophet is very low, but Savage is even lower and does end up finally dropping. And now Arbed has been left alone with no friends. Well, I say that, Whiteman is just around the corner. There's not much he can do as the Disruptor to help out. He'll drop a kinetic field. Rupture out on Boombill. Cuckoo now going to come back into the fight. But they do not want to continue. They want to disengage, and they will get away with Arbed intact.
Ooh, man, a messy back and forth between both sides, but that is a big win for MG Trust. They come out on top in the end. Jackie, living through with a sliver of HP, gonna be very pleased with himself. As Among Us, they keep having to throw the bodies out. Now, that Astral Spirit Ags upgrade, giving a free BKB to Savage is big, and he is going for the pure right-click build off of that. He's got his crit stick up. He's looking for the Daedalus next, and maybe finish up the Scotty afterwards. But it's just a lot of farm that needs to come out for him to match that output, for him to start bursting these heroes down. And it's starting to feel a bit lacking. Like, they've got a lot of durability with Abed, but the damage isn't coming out. Cuckoo, he just drops Bloodright. There's just not much you can do when you're this far behind on the Bloodseeker. They're going to have to find a way to get that farm distribution back on track. Except when your map is shrunk this much, it's very difficult to get all of these heroes up and running. And, you know, key items are still coming out for MG Trust. There's a BKB up on Jackie, so they smoke up. They're going to go hunting.
Why the hell not? Obviously, that last team fight, although it was quite even, did go very well for Motivate. Again, they're going to start with Whitemon to burst him down. Snowball going to be out. We'll stun him up through the Glimmer Cape, and Boombell will eventually just finish him off with the Walrus Punch. Onto that tier 2 mid tower. Of course, Jabs is going to be there to just try and slow things down with the Older Titan Stomp. But look at the damage coming out from Jackie and Masteros. It's just so much damage. They are forced to clip this one up. Stomp is out with the Blood Right onto Fearless, but he's going to be alright to run away. Perhaps not for Q though, as he does get X back, but he gets the False Promise off in time. Now the Snowball back in, but Abed times the boat very, very well and does connect both of them with Jackie, getting the multi-shot, but Savage now is breaking the gap, going after Fearless and the Drow. Do they have the damage output or the control? Fearless, nice blink away. Dooku's running pretty fast, but they're not going to keep chasing. Or are they? Savage? He's looking for a glimpse attempt with that Disruptor morph, but not going to be able to get one.
Yeah, it's a good disengage for MG Trust. They only lose their supports, so not much of value actually being dropped there. You're going to be happy enough to get back and reset. Would like to make more progress on those tier 2s, especially that mid one, but good defense from Among Us. They are without a fortify for a bit longer though. Have to be cautious about the next fights that break out, as MG Trust are not gonna... It's not like they're just gonna sit back and wait. Again, no cooldowns means they can just keep running at you, and they might just look for that. There is a rush up for the taking as well. Gonna have to keep your eye out on that objective. That is gonna be the Aegis and Cheese. There's a courier here from Cuckoo to keep track. No, not quite that same information from MG Trust, but they are smoked.
Whitemon. They get caught out by Fearless again, and well, gets the Glimmer Cape off in time. It's gonna be alright. Fearless still looking for him, does eventually get him with the Avalanche Toss, and it will be enough with Q throwing out the Purifying Flames. Gonna go for more again. Everybody is gonna be able to get back from Among Us, so back into that Roshan pit.
Your admiral is on board.
Or maybe not. Abed with these illusions gonna be able to scout out that pit, so they don't want to risk anything quite yet. Looks like they'll have to come back another time.
Yeah, it's a good stall out from Among Us. Does cost them 1 life, but this puts them in a good position to contest the next Rosh. That Rosh actually. So you're going to have Whitemon up. You've got the Static Storm. It's not a very easy fight for MG Trust to go into, but looks like they're just going to settle for the runes for now. And again, back to resetting, waiting for certain items. You've got a BKB now on Masteros. So 2 BKBs in play. Fresh charges for MG Trust. Also very close to getting a blink out on Q and a E-Blade on Fearless. Just maybe wait out for one of those items to be ready, and then you can look to make more plays on the map. As Among Us, you know, they're using that time to farm up as well. It's still a bit slow going. The Daedalus is just about done for Savage though. That's going to be a huge damage boost, especially when he does get a good amount of spirits or a good amount of heroes bumped by his spirit in the Elder Titan form. That is something that MG Trust has to be a bit leery about. The right click of Savage can shoot up massively from that.
Certainly can. No matter whether the Savage can stay alive though, like that's just been the main issue is once that